Live now. Go ahead.
Hey everyone, welcome to the official launch of OmdenaLore. We'll just give one more minute for everyone to join in, and then we'll start with today's agenda. Meanwhile, just grab a cup of coffee. It's going to be a really interesting session, and I hope you get something out of this out of today's session. We'll just wait one more minute for everyone to tune in to our live event, and we'll start. Cool. I think we can start. Okay, awesome. Welcome again, guys. Thank you for joining in today's session. So today we'll be introducing OmdenaLore to you guys, and it's your presence that gives us motivation towards working towards the initiative. Um, I'll be talking. I'll be your host today. My name is Kaushal Bhasar. I am VP of Platform Engineering in Omdena, and today with me we have Raman Sharma as well. You can quickly introduce yourself, Ram.
Yes. Hi, everyone. My name is Raman Sharma. I am a platform engineer here at Omdena. Alongside Kaushal, I've been working on OmdenaLore, and I'm so excited today to be here at its official launch. Thank you.
Thanks, Ram, for the introduction. And in today's session, we'll be talking about why we came up with the idea of OmdenaLore, what's the inspiration behind it, and then I'll be telling you what exactly is OmdenaLore, some more details about it, and then we'll come towards advantages and benefits of OmdenaLore that you can take out of it, and how OmdenaLore can benefit organizations and projects. And then we'll finally see how we can use OmdenaLore. And while I'm showing you how we can use OmdenaLore in the projects, I'll also tell you about the documentation and the repository as well. Finally, we'll talk about the community and the collaboration aspect of OmdenaLore, and then finally we'll end it with a Q&A session. For the Q&A session, just quickly comment down your questions in the chat section, and I'll address as much as we can. We'll also have a mid check-in session in between the session, and I'll try to address as much questions as possible. So why OmdenaLore? Why did we come up with the idea of OmdenaLore? I think majority of data scientists and ML developers will agree with me when I say that majority of the project time majority of the time that we commit towards a project is gone in before or after model building. And by before, I mean researching about the domains, researching about the project, data scraping, data gathering, pre-processing, loading the data set, and even after the model building, which is deployment, visualizations. These are the things that take majority of the data science of a data science project time, while the actual model building is less time consuming than others. Also, we have seen in majority of the projects, there is a lot of repeating code blocks. For example, if you work on a satellite image project, and you have worked on a satellite image project in past, you'll see a lot of similarities between code blocks. If you want to load a raster file into your local machine, you'll have to follow a similar code block than you used to do in past projects as well. And also, when you try to run a lot of code inside the a lot of different pieces of code inside the repository, it's a lot of time consuming process to select what's the best code pieces is. It's not just the selection process, but writing different code pieces so that you can test out different algorithms or different processes. For example, if you want to do data augmentation, first you will try to rotate and you'll try to do some other processes to augment your data, but you'll have to select a particular piece of code that works best with your model. These problems take majority of the development time, and we thought of a solution on the law. So we built a structurized library by compiling community source data science code. So what exactly is OmdenaLore? So when we observed the problems that I stated before, we came up with the idea of creating an open source data science project that can provide comprehensive, ready to use Python classes and function, so that you can target your machine learning problems in an accelerated manner. What does that mean is that OmdenaLore is an open source package where you can find different codes, different code blocks, different Python classes, as well as you'll find notebooks that can help you to solve any problem that you might face in an accelerated manner, because we have ready-made codes that you can directly import in your project and start using it. Basically, to reduce the development time and to target those issues that I mentioned before, we created OmdenaLore. But you'll ask like, hey, I have seen somewhat similar libraries, but what makes us unique is some key features and ideas that the code inside OmdenaLore is just not some random code by some random collaborator. We handpick certified collaborators from the community, as well as we have a strict review process where every time a code is pushed to the repository, we review the code with strict guidelines, and only the best code gets into the repository. Since the community comprises of collaborators who have worked or either worked in past into real world projects that have some social or environmental impact, the collaborators are typically interested towards working in real world test cases, use cases. And not just that, whenever we try to collaborate a code in it, we don't just randomly put code inside the repository. We try to solve a real world problem statement. And while we do that, we pick out some code blocks and we try to upload it into the repository, which makes the repository very compatible to the real world use cases. And not just the code. As I mentioned you before, the majority of the time does not goes into the model and the coding itself. Whenever you start a project, you don't start with coding. You start with research. You research about the domain. You research about what about the different models, and it takes a lot. It takes up a lot of time. Inside OmdenaLore, it's just not code. It's also knowledge base. It's the knowledge base that collaborators have studied upon. They have researched and they found out to be useful, so that they collaborated inside. They pushed those resources inside the repository. So now you can access the knowledge base and can read about any domain that you want to work on. Also, we are proud to be the first and the largest AI for Good project focused library. And here, AI for Good and project focused are the keywords. AI for Good because the community of OmdenaLore is focused towards creating an impact. Collaborators are highly motivated towards making a social and environmental impact, as well as in project focused library because we have been solving real world use cases and problem statements, so that we create a code that is helpful towards organizations and projects that are really making an impact or either have an end goal. So that's why we have AI for Good project focused library as a keyword. So what are the advantages and benefits that we can get out of OmdenaLore? As I mentioned before, OmdenaLore greatly reduces development time. But how does it do it? OmdenaLore allows companies and projects to reduce redundancy of code block. As we have mentioned already, that you don't have to write code blocks again, similar code blocks again and again. Inside OmdenaLore, you will find code blocks that can do a particular task. You can just import the code block and start using it. This will greatly reduce the development time. Since we have ready-made code blocks inside the repository. You can directly push, or you can directly pull the code blocks and start coding. This helps you to test the code faster and make faster decisions. When you pull in different code blocks inside your project, you run those code blocks and you see the results, you compare those results. And since the code is already coded for you, you can directly import it, run it, and you can test out the results and compare the results between different code blocks. It's not just code blocks, but also the complete pipeline. So when you are running, let's say you are running object detection project, and you want to test out different algorithms like YOLO, Detectron to ULACT model. What you want to do is either you start by creating a code where you load the data, you put the data inside the repository, and you compare the different results between different models. But we really want to decrease that testing time or to make faster decisions, because when you pull in the whole pipeline, you just feed in the data, you compare the result, you feed in the data, you compare the result, and repeat. Also, as I mentioned, you have complete access to the pipelines as well as code blocks. Pipelines, which are end-to-end code blocks, but code pieces, and code blocks are the sample code blocks that will help you to understand different functions and classes that are already inside the repository. We also provide notebooks corresponding to every single functions, so that you can check out how a function can work inside the repository. I'll just give you an example, a demo of how this looks like in future slides as well. And we have a very powerful we have a community power towards issues and discussion sessions for better executions of tasks. So whenever there is a new code or whenever there is a new problem statement that comes around the corner, we have a very dedicated community that helps us to achieve and achieve that task, and helps us to add code inside the repository. So this makes this ensures that we have the latest or the updated code inside the repository. And finally, we have a comprehensive automated documentation, which is very easy to use. You can find that in I'll give you the link, and you can check out the documentation as well. And it's automated, which means that anytime a function is added to the repository, the documentation gets updated, and you can be the latest version possible. To summarize what I've been talking about, the Omdena's goal is to make organizations AI enabled, which means that since organizations like NGOs and startups do not have a lot of resources in terms of people and time, we want to greatly decrease the development time so that they can be AI enabled as soon as possible, and they have a product which is run by AI. Also, while doing that, we also want to support individual projects, because in individual projects, we have a strict amount of time or strict amount of people that we can work with. This library can help them to greatly decrease the development time and start building the AI models. So what is the value that OmdenaLore brings, especially towards the impact-driven organizations and startups? First of all, so the OmdenaLore helps you to complete your backlogs of ML goals with ML goals. As I have mentioned, that usually startups and NGOs have a limited resource in terms of people and time, which creates a huge list of backlogs in those organizations. What you guys can do is basically you can put those backlogs inside OmdenaLore's issue sections, and the impact-driven community can come to those issues and start solving them, which helps you to clear those backlogs as soon as possible. You can also get complete support from community for future updates and changes, because since the community is working regularly towards the repository, every time there is a new thing comes up, we update the repository, and if there is a bug or any issues that you might face due to the new update, we help you out with that, and we update the repository even further. You also get enthusiastic collaborators to work with you from all over the world. The OmdenaLore community have collaborators from all over the world, which helps us to mitigate bias in code blocks, in models as well. So you get a pretty diverse collaborators. Also, we have targeted different domain goals on one single platform. So whenever you have a goal related to computer vision, NLP, you don't have to switch platforms and run to different solutions. You can target all the domain goals, AI, ML related domain goals on the OmdenaLore itself. On top of that, you also get to access the OmdenaLore's project knowledge resource as well to develop your accelerate your development environment and and basically help make yourself AI enabled in short. So I'll go through it through the documentation and repository quickly. And I also tell you the process to how you can use OmdenaLore and how you can get access to OmdenaLore as well. So the very first thing that you guys can check out is the library itself. So when OmdenaLore is actually updated on Python index, which is PYPI. When you go to the website, just quickly type OmdenaLore and you will greeted with this page, and you can check out OmdenaLore. In this particular page, you will find the library as well. You can you'll find the command to install it, and you will find also a lot of important links that I'll mention in future slides as well. Also, you'll get a lot of information about OmdenaLore and how you can apply here. You will also get the documentation and guideline links here, FAQs and support as well. To quickly install OmdenaLore library, what you can do is just quickly go to your terminal or Google Collaborate or any environment that you want to work on, and install OmdenaLore with a simple command pip install OmdenaLore. You can use OmdenaLore as you use a standard library like Pandas, NumPy. It's as simple as that, and it's as intuitive as that. Okay. So now it's installing OmdenaLore. As you can see, it's very simple. You just need to pip install OmdenaLore and you can start using it. I just quickly imported a function from OmdenaLore. This function is from NLP module, where it helps us to remove any hashtags inside a text, which helps us in pre-processing an NLP text, text for NLP models. And yeah, voila. This is how simple it is to use OmdenaLore. I'll quickly go through the OmdenaLore's landing page as well. So this is the OmdenaLore's landing page. You can find a lot of information here, what I have mentioned today. The very first thing that you will see here is to install the library, and this will lead you towards the PYPI page, which I just showed you. After that, you can also find links to apply to become a collaborator inside OmdenaLore. Once you click on apply, you'll be greeted with a form. You fill up the form, we select you, and once you get selected, we'll further onboard you with more details afterwards. But if you are an organization or a partner and wants to collaborate with us, you can quickly connect with us. Don't worry, we don't ask for your commitment. It's no string attached environment. You can just quickly sign up with us and start exploring the product, start exploring the repository, and complete your ML goals. And finally, you will find the link to the documentation, FAQ section, and also the contribute button. So that's the whole landing page, which you can check out. And the start of the show, the repository itself. Inside the repository, you will find folders arranged according to domain names. So inside OmdenaLore components, you'll find different domain names that have code modules inside them. So you can check out what you're interested in. So let's say if you're interested in computer vision, just check out the computer vision module and check out the code inside it. If you're interested in, you can collaborate inside it. If you don't find the code that you're interested in, you can quickly collaborate or contribute that code inside it. There is also an issue section where community, even startups, NGOs, any organization post their the code that they want to commit inside the repository. So whatever that's missing here, you can quickly go ahead and check out the issue section, which we are working towards it. We are trying to solve as many issues as we can. If you find something missing inside the repository, quickly create an issue and we'll target that as well. Now coming towards the documentation, the last part of OmdenaLore, which is the documentation itself. Inside the documentation, you'll find five contents, which is components. The first one is components. Inside components, you'll find a lot of functions indexed according to the documentation's structure or the repository structure. So you'll find how to use a code, what's the parameters, returns, just like a standard library. On top of that, as I mentioned, that we have a knowledge base. So whenever you start working on a project, you can just quickly go through the documentation. If you are working on a computer vision project, just click on the knowledge base, start reading on the articles, reports, research papers uh, related to your domain, and you can quickly do your research about the project itself. The third important thing is the guidelines and code of conduct, which is focused towards collaboration, and we'll give you more details on it once you apply to become a collaborator. And finally, there's an FAQ and support section where you can find frequently asked questions, and also you can reach out to us using this email, and we'll respond to you as soon as possible. So that's the whole documentation repository and how to use OmdenaLore. But there is another side to it. If you are a partner or an organization, or if you are running a project, if you have taken an initiative to complete a project, what you can do is quickly go through the documentation and find the code block that interests you. There is a search functionality, so you can search different parts of the different functions or different code blocks that you are interested in. So let's say if you're interested in finding the intersection over a union of a box, you can quickly go ahead and search this function. But if you don't find a particular function inside here and you want to add that function and you want to take a help of the community to add that function inside the repository, just quickly go through the repository, go to the issue section and create a issue. I have created a sample issue here. I'll just quickly go through it. You can create a issue by clicking on the new issue button here. Uh, Create a title, loading XYZ dataset for YOLO model. Quickly create a description. You can also provide the link to the dataset as well, which we can use to test the code as well. And finally, once the collaborators have done or included the code inside the repository, the collaborator will respond to you. You'll find the code here or the usage block here, and we'll close the request. So this is how a company or any project that you have running on, you can quickly put your issues or anything that you want to target here in the repository, and the community will help you to solve this as soon as possible. Okay, so let's do a quick mid check-in. I'll quickly go through the questions that have been posted, and then I'll move forward. After the mid checking questions, I'll be focusing towards the community and the collaboration aspect of OmdenaLore. And then finally, we do the last Q&A as well. The very first question I see here is, can I volunteer to work with OmdenaLore? Yes, definitely you can volunteer to work with OmdenaLore. As I'll be telling you more about how you can become a contributor in OmdenaLore in next slide. So please wait for that. It's basically an open source project, right? Yes, Priyanshi, this is an open source project, but I would. Okay, so it's an open source project, but we handpicked the collaborators that put code inside the repository. And the way we do it is that we provide a application form. You fill it up. Once you fill it up, we'll review application. It's not a questionnaire. It's not something like that you have to give an interview. It's just an application that you fill in. We just see the motivation of people behind being a contributor, and we hand those collaborators to start working with OmdenaLore. Somebody asked, does OmdenaLore have any article regarding how to extract tabular information about financial documents from financial documents? So OmdenaLore is actually ever growing, and we have a very dedicated community working towards solving problem statements. So if you want OmdenaLore to have a code that can extract tabular information from financial documents, you can quickly create an issue there, and we will we'll try to target as soon as possible. And once we add that code block inside the repository, we'll just quickly inform you as well. Can I know what's the advantage? So I'll also come towards what are the advantages that you can get out of as a collaborator. I have already mentioned the advantages that you can get out of as an organization, as a partner. And also, if you're working towards working in a project, you can directly use OmdenaLore to accelerate the development time of your project. Um, but in further slides, I'll quickly go through what are the advantages of being a collaborator as well. So somebody asked, can you share this presentation on YouTube or LinkedIn? This presentation or this live event will be available to you on LinkedIn, so you can check out this whole recording there. Awesome. I think we'll go ahead with the presentation, and we'll have another Q&A session at the end of the presentation. So also, if you check out in the chat, you will find a lot of links shared by Ram. Okay, so let me tell you a little bit more about the community itself. And the foundation of OmdenaLore is the community that we have built throughout the creation of OmdenaLore. So we have hundreds of enthusiastic volunteers from all over the world. We have built a very ever-growing community, and the collaborators are actually handpicked, as I mentioned, by Omdena to fill up the shoes of either a coder or a domain expert. To make sure that the code or the repository is up to date, and we build a community that is and motivated and enthusiastic towards creating new things and solving real world problems. We conduct regular community events to ensure a collaborative and fun environment. We conduct a lot of events, like for example, when you apply to become part of OmdenaLore, we do an onboarding session with you as well. We do targeted sprints where we target. So as I mentioned, that we community or a organization or a project comes up and posts their issues inside the repository. We also do some targeted sprints to solve those issues that are posted inside the repository. This helps us to target those issues faster and finish those issues as soon as possible. We also have expert panels. Whenever we conduct a sprint, we bring in experts from either Omdena community or OmdenaLore community. These experts helps us to guide or helps us to review our code, even helps give us hints with any errors that we might face during collaboration. So we also have an expert panel inside the community as well. We also do some discussion and brainstorming sessions, which are pretty fun because there are a lot of new ideas coming up. People are free to discuss anything they want to, which creates a very fun environment. And also we do some live streams and a lot of events. The events are actually focused towards being productive as much as we can. And also these are some of the events that I mentioned, but we also do events according to collaborators' request as well. So what value does OmdenaLore brings to collaborators and contributors? So first of all, you can become a part of a collaborative community and also make an impact by giving head start to future projects across the world. As I mentioned, that OmdenaLore is a project-focused library, and the code inside OmdenaLore is going to be used by a lot of organizations as well as projects. So once you include code inside the repository, your code basically helps a lot of projects to decrease the development time and go to market as soon as possible, making real world impact. And this is the motivation that guides a lot of almost all of the collaborators inside OmdenaLore community. And this is what motivates us to work more on OmdenaLore. We also have some interactive sprints. As I mentioned, that we have experts panel inside the sprints. We have discussions, brainstorming sessions. We have coding sessions. We have targeted sprints. So if it's not just working towards working inside OmdenaLore, you also can learn a lot from being part of OmdenaLore. Having an interactive sprints allows you to learn from other collaborators and allows other collaborators to learn from you as well. Also, you can get experience by solving real world problems because, as I mentioned, that everything that we contribute inside the OmdenaLore repository, either we do it by solving real world problem statements or problem statement posted by any organization or any project. Also, if the top collaborators also get a chance to get featured on our website on the repository as well. And also we give chance to become future pull reviewers and reviewers of future pull requests as well. And finally, most importantly, work in an open source culture. A lot of collaborators that come inside OmdenaLore either had some sort of open source culture or have no experience in open source culture as well. This is one of the things that makes OmdenaLore unique, is that whenever you become a part of OmdenaLore, we help you throughout the whole open source culture collaboration process. Even with the onboarding, we guide you towards what you can work with. We help you find your interest. We help you find the issues that you can work with. We even help you with code. And OmdenaLore is a place where you can test out your code and also get reviews from your peers on how you can improve your code, how you can improve certain aspects of your logical or thinking process, even share your ideas, and even multiple collaborators can work towards creating a new thing or new ideas as well. So being part of an open source culture where you have constant support from the creators itself is a very unique aspect of OmdenaLore. So let me guide you towards the process of being a collaborator. As I mentioned before, if you go through the landing page, which is omdena.com/omdenalore, you'll quickly go through this particular screen full, and you'll find an application form. This application form will lead you to an application which you can fill out to become or to apply to become a part of OmdenaLore. Once you fill up this a very short form, we select your application, and you get access to the repository, and you get access to the community as well. Once you do that, we'll have an onboarding session with you in which we'll explain you further into how you can become a collaborator, what actually you can collaborate, different nuances and specifications about repository, where the code is, and how you can create a pull request, and how you can make sure that your pull request is up to date, and a lot more detail about it. So once you apply to become a part of a collaborator, be a collaborator inside OmdenaLore, we'll guide you after that. Awesome. So I see that we also have a lot more new questions coming up. So I'll just quickly go through the questions. Somebody asked, just like C1 library, we say it's built on top of Matplotlib. What about OmdenaLore? So OmdenaLore is actually built on different dependencies. That does not mean that inside OmdenaLore everything is copy pasted. Actually, it's not. The code that is inside OmdenaLore is actually created by the collaborators, but we do have dependencies on different libraries. OmdenaLore does not claim to be a unique code base. The code base inside OmdenaLore, the whole inspiration behind OmdenaLore is to create code base that is generally used a lot by data scientists, so that they don't have to rewrite the same code again and again. So which creates a lot of dependency, yes, but it's not like a modular library like Seaborn, where you can, or modular library like NumPy or Pandas. Somebody asked again, how can I contribute to a project? As I mentioned, just quickly go through the documentation through the landing page. Quickly find the apply button here, contribute for a better world, apply button. Just apply to the repository, and we'll accept your application, and then you can get access to it. Meanwhile, we accept your application. You can also go through the documentation, which is open for everyone to view. So while you do that, you can check out any interesting code inside it. You can also check out the knowledge base. So you'll get a pretty good gist on what exactly OmdenaLore is, and what exactly you can contribute inside it. While you do that, we also recommend you to quickly go and install OmdenaLore. This will help you to use the code inside OmdenaLore, and use the code in your own project as well. So yeah, just try and use as much as you can. So this will give you a better understanding of OmdenaLore. Meanwhile, we accept your application, and once we accept your application, we'll have an onboarding call explaining you what. So can we become a part-time collaborator in OmdenaLore? When you become a collaborator inside OmdenaLore, we don't ask you to commit a dedicated amount of time. You can work completely on OmdenaLore as a full-time job, collaborator, or either you can work part-time. You can even spend a few hours. You can spend 7 days of a week. We don't ask any commitment from you to dedicate your time of a day to OmdenaLore. You can work anytime you like. You can hop on to the sprints anytime you like. We welcome any collaborator at any point of time. So it's totally open. And don't feel lost if you see that like there are a lot of collaborators, there is a sprint going on. We even help you to get started or get up to speed on what we have already done, so you won't feel lost when you are inside inside as a collaborator. Can OmdenaLore code can be used in government projects in production environments? What is the licensing agreement? So the licensing is what we follow MIT open license. So it's an open source code, which means that you can use this library in any environment you like, whether it be a government project, whether it be a private project, whether it be your school project or your own startup or any company. So it's open for everyone to use. It's an MIT open license. As a beginner in coding and AI, how can I contribute? That's a very good question. We do have a lot of collaborators inside the community which who are beginner um, and don't know exactly how can we contribute. As I mentioned, this is one of the things that set us apart from other open source projects is that we have a team which provides you constant support with any problem that you might face during collaboration process. The problem can be what you want to contribute in, what are you interested in, finding your own interest. Even when you find out interest, what exactly can you contribute? And when you're contributing, if you face any errors, we'll help you with that as well. So you can be a complete beginner and you can be an expert when you become a part of OmdenaLore. We guide you through each and every open source collaboration process, which so basically, as I mentioned, when you become part of OmdenaLore, this will help you to get used to open source culture as we help you in every stage of development. So you can just come in. All the commitment that we ask from the collaborator is to just hop on and we'll take care of the rest. Priyanshi asked, what are the skills that we need to have in general to become part of Omdena project? So to become a part of Omdena project, you have to go to omdena.com and apply to any project that you like. Or you have to find an interest of yours and apply. You'll find more about the skills inside the project page itself. But if you are asking about what skills do you need to become a part of OmdenaLore, the only skill that you need to have is to communicate, and that's all. When you communicate with us, when you communicate with Omdena team, when you communicate with the collaborators, you can overcome any problem, any hurdle you might face during the collaboration process. Even if you are learning something, so OmdenaLore is actually focused towards collaborators learning process as well. So collaborators learn a lot when they come into the project and they start working in the sprints. Please do comment down your questions. Does OmdenaLore package include several data sets in it? Since this is an open source library, we do not have data sets specifically inside library inside the repository right now. We are still working towards including a lot of data sets. Since we are working in a lot of real world projects, sometimes we create our own data sets, and when we do that, we try to upload it on the repository. So in in coming projects or incoming issues that we will target in the repository, we'll be uploading data sets as well. So right now we don't have any data sets, but yes, we'll have more data sets in future. We do have inside the knowledge base, we do have some data sets which are noted down, public data sets. So if you want to check out that, you can definitely check out that. But if sometimes we create our own data set, we'll be uploading it in the repository itself. Awesome. I think okay. So somebody asked about the knowledge base. So I'll quickly go through the knowledge base again. Inside the knowledge base, you'll find links to the repository articles separated by the domain names themselves. So if you're interested in, let's say, computer vision, you just quickly go through the knowledge base inside the computer vision. You start reading the articles that are related to your projects. And the unique thing about these articles or these links are that these links or articles have proven to be useful in different projects. So you will find some links that are specifically not very useful in a project, but these links will help you a lot because these are tutorials that collaborators have been following through to target a lot of issues inside the repository or or to solve any particular problem statement. So check out the tutorials, links, and research papers as well. And you can and since this is ever growing, there will be a lot of new links coming up. So keep an eye out for that. And since this documentation is open source as well, even if you feel like that some link or some repository has helped you a lot, you can also put that here as a collaborator. And yeah, that's about it. Awesome. I think we have addressed all of the questions. If I have missed any questions, you can directly reach out to us. Either you can apply to become a part of OmdenaLore or inside FAQ section in the documentation or or inside the PY project itself, you can reach out to us using this email and we'll respond to you as soon as possible. And also you can join our Discord. Inside the PYPI page, you will find Discord link as well. You can join our Discord page and become part of the community as well. You'll find a lot of links here as well. If you want to become partner, apply to be a contributor. And also one more thing, a very important thing here is the OmdenaLore article. The creators of OmdenaLore have curated an article, um, and this article tells you the inspiration behind OmdenaLore, different aspects of OmdenaLore, and what are the events and sections inside the repository as well as the community. So you can check out, read about it more. There is also a demo at the end of the article, so you can check out that. And yeah, so it's a very good read. I definitely recommend you to check this out as soon as possible because this will help you with a lot of questions as well. Awesome. I think we have addressed. Okay, so we have one more question. Is there any channel to communicate with other collaborators? Yes. When you apply to become a part of OmdenaLore, we invite you to become also to a community either on Discord or either on Slack. So when you become a part of OmdenaLore, you become also part of the community where you can in Slack or Discord, where you can reach out to other collaborators, reach out to collaborators in sprints or either through text. And since we have a lot of collaborators from all over the world, you'll find some collaborator online at some point of the time, which who she or he can help you with any errors or any questions that you might have. As I mentioned, that we also have a lot of brainstorming sessions as well. So it's a pretty fun environment and interesting environment to be. Awesome. I think we have targeted every questions here, and that's all from my side. thank you guys for joining in. Do not forget to install OmdenaLore and start using it. Your feedback will help us to improve even further, and apply to become a collaborator, or apply to become or use OmdenaLore as a company or as an organization. It really helps us to work more towards the cause and the initiative, and it's completely free of cost, so why not? And thank you for joining, guys. I hope to see you in the community.